So let's wrap up. On the presentation side, Parasite Eve gets an A+. The FMV sequences and story are top-notch for a PlayStation 1 title. The in-game graphics are certainly not great by today's standards, and the low-res backgrounds make it difficult to see which areas of the map are explorable sometimes, but considering this came out before Final Fantasy VIII, it was a huge step up in graphical presentation from that of Final Fantasy VII. Maybe it's the fact that you don't have any team members to fight with you, but I truly felt while playing this game that it was me against the world. Squaresoft really pulled out all the stops when it came to delivering a unique feel to this game. On the gameplay side, I can really only give this game a C+, and that might be being too generous. While the battle system is refreshingly different for an RPG, it definitely can become annoying when you're wandering aimlessly in search of a key of some kind and have to keep fighting the same creatures over and over. It gets really repetitive. Yep, battles are entirely at random and there's no way to avoid them. Also, when you get into fights, invisible walls keep you from maneuvering outside of your enemy's attack range and can result in some really cheap hits when you don't know where the walls are. Sometimes, it's also unclear as to what you're supposed to do and where you're supposed to go. And much like Resident Evil, you find yourself wandering in rooms simply pressing the X button, hoping for a "you found an item" message to pop up. Finally, the Central Park level is way too long, and it's difficult to remember how it's laid out, leading to what can, for new players, be hours of exploring in hopes of figuring out where you're supposed to go. What this game really needs is a map feature. If you want a really important hint, make sure you explore the drawers and desks everywhere in this game, and also attempt to open every single locker that you can. The music in this game, aside from the horrible synth opera sequences, is great. The main theme that plays when you turn the game on is fantastic, and being accompanied by a very well done FMV, it really gets you primed to play the game. It's a piano-driven techno piece with some electric guitar, which may sound bizarre to you, but to me, it was just really nice and different. It builds to this perfect crescendo which ends and fades out with the title screen appearing. Outside of only a couple of other tracks which are rather annoying and kind of uncreative, the music for each area has a feel of its own, but somehow manages to work coherently as a whole. Controls. They're very easy to use, and with a little bit of practice, you'll find you're able to avoid about 75% of your enemy's attacks. But it definitely annoys the crap out of me that Aya's run is so incredibly slow. I guess part of me understands why Square did that, because if Aya moved faster regularly, the game would be even shorter than it already is, and as it is, you'll probably be done with it within 10 hours. So I'm going to give Controls a B. Overall, I'm going to give Parasite Eve for the PS1 a B+, and a high recommendation to people who are sick of the boring, cliche, guy with sword saves the kingdom RPG. The success of the original Parasite Eve spawned a sequel that just ditched the easily understood and maneuverable control scheme to mimic that of Resident Evil, and when I realized that, I couldn't bring myself to play the game for more than an hour or so. The Resident Evil games are good, very good in fact, so don't get me wrong, but the control scheme just sucks. It's so unrealistic, and it always has been, aside from RE4. Just to help those of you out who are interested, I checked out eBay right now, and there are well over 20 copies of this game available for $5 or less. Seems like a no-brainer to me. Well, I hope you enjoyed the review, and hopefully I'll be back again real soon.